Champions League night. Liverpool FC was in Leipzig, and it could have been so great. But unfortunately, the goal was disallowed because goaltender was offside. And moments later, we witnessed a certain player for the Reds breaking through and just scoring the first goal for the Reds.
Schön gemacht. Nein, kriegt er nicht. Scheiße.
And I do apologize for my foul German language, but it came from the heart. And just before the game ended, we thought we were able to settle for a draw. But no, because Mr. Goaltender was offside for a second time when he scored. Well, we know that RB Leipzig came away empty-handed. I'm going to be discussing this with Richard, and you will hear from Ivana, Esteban, Diego, and Michel, who I met after the game, and asked them about what they thought about this match versus Liverpool FC. And of course, we're going to have a look at the upcoming match versus SC Freiburg, which is not going to get easier, bearing in mind who's not going to be there. Exactly. The ultra-hardcore fans of SC Freiburg are actually boycotting the match. They decided to stay at home. It is quite a long trek, we understand. We also asked the question, does this mean with all these Red Bull clubs kind of stalling in their development, that the Red Bull model is actually kaputt, is finished? Welcome to Bulls in Red. And again, a warm welcome to Bulls in Red, our RB Leipzig podcast, which is at home in Leipzig and made for you wherever you are on this little planet. Your hosts are myself, Mario, and I mentioned myself first, that's very impolite. And I'd like to welcome Richard. How are you tonight?
Hey Mario, thank you. I'm fine. Finally, Friday's around the corner. What a week.
Around the corner, yeah. But not here yet. So, Richard, it's been now 24 hours since we had that clash with Liverpool FC. So I would like to start with that topic. And let me just tell you, it was actually quite nice. It was Wednesday night. It was peaceful because, most supporters from other clubs who come to Leipzig, it's friendly, it's peaceful. And I must admit that Scouser accent is really hard to understand if you're not used to it. Great atmosphere. The stadium was sold out, no tifo this time, but everybody was quite relaxed, quite joyful, and pretty optimistic. But I must say, the game was a bit difficult to watch, again, because this time Liverpool only showed us about 25 minutes of their great free-flowing football. And during that time, our lads kind of ran around like headless chicken. That was hard to watch. I loved it that Szoboszlai was here again, and I was so impressed with Konate, and definitely with Konate and Virgil van Dijk as centre backs of Liverpool. Jesus, nothing could go past them. Really impressive. On the other hand, I fear that our lads tried everything, tried a lot. We scored twice. Obviously, it was offside. Of course, I didn't see that in the stadium because, I don't have those lines. And it is a shame, but I never really got the feeling that we could have really turned it around, I must say. So, met some nice people because you're going to hear about them in the interview afterwards. But it was a shame that our Dutch guy, Xavi, is injured, and it emerged today that I think for this calendar year, he won't be returning. Won't make things easier. One more thing I noticed, and that's also what some people said afterwards, we definitely miss David Raum. The Xavi tried, well, he was doing all the crosses, he was doing all the passing, and he took all the corners. But again, set pieces are not our strength this year. Definitely not. So I do wonder, looking forward, how are we going to solve this puzzle? But we were going to see. Let's talk about this a little bit later. I know, Richard, you watched it on TV. What was your impression?
Well, in general, it was good, but not great. At least not good enough to be on level with Liverpool that night. We talked about it in our preview. Everything has to go in our favor. Everything has to go in our way to have a chance. Well, unfortunately, some things didn't went well for us. But at the end, I think the box score looks a bit worse than it actually was. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the X goals, we only had 0.8 versus 2.4 that Liverpool had. But at least in those two situations, it was just a question of a few centimeters to score or not to score. And we had some other chances that had no really high XG value. But the situation where Xavi got injured, there was a deflected shot, but it was so dangerous. And the goalie from Liverpool, Kelleher, had to show anything he is able to do to keep this ball out of his net. And of course, even in the first half too, when Haidara took this shot from 20 meters away, it was this volley he took after the corner kick, I think, and it was great. It was hard shot. It was with high accuracy, but I don't know how he did this, the goalie. But well, in that moment, the ball left the foot of Haidara. He was just on his way into the right post, and so it was offensively, I think, as I said, not bad. It was okay. It was not great, but it was good. Defensively, for the most of the time, I think too, because the best chances for Liverpool came nearly all out of the box. So the winning goal, obviously not. It was this old one-trick pony, or at least that simple football. Every top side in European football is playing go to the goal line and then passes back. Something we rarely do, almost never. Mm-hmm. And I recognize this, especially this UCL match day. I recognize this Barca doing it. I recognize Real doing it, especially in the second half. And Liverpool now too. And of course, Man City does it as well. So I think, well, it seems to me this is an important factor of being successful. Because if you're doing this, you are almost every time take away the possibility of getting yourself offside. Passing the ball backwards cannot be an offside. And if you're going straight to the goal line and pulling a defender with you, mm-hmm. then this one usually prevents the offense of being offside. So I think this is something we should look into a little bit more in the upcoming matches, in the upcoming months. At least I will do. So, but back to the game. We can be grateful to Pete, the wall, Gulashi, because he's saved,
I agree.
At least 2 more goals. So It was another excellent evening for him. And so I think it would have been okay if this thing ends with a result of 2-4, and with a little more luck, especially in the last 10-12 minutes, we could get away with a point.
That's true.
So I'm not disappointed. I'm not unsatisfied of how our lads played, but at the end of the day, it's after 3 games UCL, it's just too little. 0 points is not where we would like to stand now.
That's true, and I agree with you with Gulashi's performance. That was incredible. So he did save a couple of more times. But I felt quite deflated after the match because it wasn't a bad match, and they were fighting, and you could see that. And of course, in that sense, with the 2 goals being offside, we were kind of unlucky as well. But we didn't win. We didn't beat one of those European heavyweights, and it was the 3rd one in a row where we lost. Okay, last time was even worse, I think. So it felt quite deflating. But I also noticed this, which was a bit strange and slightly disheartening. We were in the 90th minute, and there was 5 minutes of extra time announced. The score was just 1-0 for Liverpool. So it was everything to play for, and the team tried. And I saw loads of people sneaking out. I mean, yes, your car might be there and it's going to get cold. The tram might be running. You may have to catch a train. But hey, this is a Champions League night. Okay, you paid loads of money for it to be there. The team fought hard. And can't you just stick it out 5 more minutes, to be honest? 5 more minutes. Yes, the score didn't change, but we all know what can happen in 5 minutes. And the team deserves it, that we try to push them. We try to push them as hard as we can. And there was a lot of appreciation after the match when the team was walking to the stands, and especially where the home supporters are. The majority remained in the stadium and showed him lots of love, you know? And I think that's the way it should be. That is the way it should be. At the end of the day, you can argue about RB Leipzig, Rasenballsport, being a company-controlled entity. I don't care. At the end of the day, this is football. The lads are earning lots of money, but they're trying their best. They're running around. And it's a match of football we lost. But show them some appreciation. That was really good. But to all these other people who were sneaking out and at the end in droves a little bit, shame on you.
Yeah, of course, because I would like to ask those people a question. Do you leave early from the theater or from the opera or from the movies? Come on, nobody does.
No.
But suddenly it's just a sports match, just an unmeaningful UCL match. I don't care. The last 5 minutes, this is just stupid. I ain't got no words for that.
Yeah, that was disheartening. It wasn't very nice. So anyways, moving swiftly on, I think at the end of the day, it did show that, like we talked about it last year, you know, we're not there yet to be in the group of the elite European heavyweights. We're not there yet. And when we show a performance which is worthy of being amongst the elite clubs, like the one in Madrid last season at Real, where we drew 1-1, and it was so close to winning that match 2-1, it's a little too late. Well, we will see how this continues, and especially bearing in mind who all the people who are injured now. It's not an easier task. Nevertheless, I still appreciate those nights, those championship nights. That is something I still appreciate. It's a special atmosphere, and it was great. So, and also, you know, thank you to the Liverpool supporters. I did notice you only sing when you're winning, because when you scored, you finally started to sing. Well, we heard the anthem live, so that was excellent. And I hope everybody got home safely and not too intoxicated. So, you know, spend the money that you saved on tickets. You save it on alcohol. Well, Richard, there is something that I like to present to you, because I met 4 people after the match and I noticed they're speaking Spanish. And I thought, hey, I'm going to talk to you guys. And I found out these are 4 people who actually live in Leipzig. And that was quite extraordinary. For, I think, a year ago, they moved to Leipzig. They work and live in Leipzig. And they're called Ivana, Esteban, Diego, and Michel. It's not Michel, it's Michel. And they're from Argentina and Chile. And I would just like to play you a little interview where I asked them what they thought about this match.
Going to start. So guys, we're here right after the game is finished versus Pool. They beat us 1-0, and I think I got 4 die-hard Liverpool fans, but they're South Americans, so don't worry, they're not English. Do you mind if I ask who you are? What's your name? You said you're Italian.
Yeah, but I am Argentina. 99% Argentina.
World champion.
Yeah, I was champion. Ivana from Argentina.
Great. And this guy here, I gotta explain that to you. He's wearing a hat, okay, but he's got a tattoo at his neck, and it's the Liverpool logo, and it looks quite good at him. But you look dangerous. So what's your name?
Esteban.
Esteban. That's a criminal name, isn't it? But I'm sure they're famous football players.
Yeah, of course.
And what's your name, sir?
Hi, I'm Diego and I'm from Chile.
Diego, but from Chile, okay. But you're also from Chile?
Yeah, I'm from Chile. My name is Michel. I'm for the Deutsch speakers, Michel.
Michel! Yeah. Wie der deutsche Michel.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm glad to have gotten into you guys, but we had a little chat before the game. You said you were here more often. So, since when have you been going to RB Leipzig matches?
We moved from Argentina to Leipzig 1 year ago. I came like maybe for 16 matches. Maybe?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we are RB Leipzig fan, but I'm a Leipzig. I'm a Liverpool. I'm so sorry, but yeah, Liverpool.
So it was a
fan.
difficult decision today.
Yeah.
Well, not for you, obviously.
Today no, but I am too Leipzig fan. But today
it was
Liverpool
hard.
is my heart.
Okay, we can see that. You're forgiven, by the way. And you're actually from Chile. When have you moved to Leipzig, or don't you live in Leipzig?
Me, 1 year ago, more or
As
less.
well,
So
okay.
yeah. And normally I came for just to the Champions League matches. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I mean it's a good like show, and today it was now the exception. It was a good match, but
Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't know. For the Champions League, maybe it wasn't the best match.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
comparing maybe with South American
I
football
would
or
know.
the Chilean national
Definitely.
championship is really bad. So this
Okay.
is amazing for us, at least, in my opinion. So yeah.
I'm really glad you enjoyed, but who was the best player for you today on Liverpool side?
On Liverpool side, Konate,
Konate.
maybe. Konate, maybe.
That hurts, mate. That hurts. I thought to myself as well. He did Konate things, you know, and it reminded us of the time with him and Upamecano. He looked just solid.
He didn't lose balls. This is fantastic.
So, do you think the better team won today?
What?
Do you think the better team won today?
Yeah, of course. I'm so sorry, but yeah, of course. I'm happy today, yeah.
And why do you think Liverpool was better today? Don't say because of Konate.
Yeah, maybe. Why not?
Better players, maybe it's the difference.
How would you rate? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, maybe teamwork. I think Leipzig, we have Xavi was amazing, I think. We have one or two amazing players, but Liverpool was a teamwork. I think that was the difference,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
I thought they were particularly strong in the first half. They played beautiful, free-flowing football, and I was amazed because usually you see that on telly, and now you saw it live, and that was really good. But it hurts if it is against your own team. Come on, and Leipzig didn't seem to have a chance. And but what do you think Leipzig could have done differently? I know David Raum should have played, right?
I mean, normally the Leipzig. I mean, if you see name by name, probably Liverpool has a better team, definitely. But Leipzig normally make a second half better than the first one. That's what I saw in a few matches. But today I think for example, Xavi definitely hasn't his better match. So it was a little bit bad today, and I think it's that. The key is of at least of Leipzig. It's Xavi Simons. I mean, for me, it's the better player, and today it was a little bit low than normally, you know. So,
Okay,
for me, yeah.
but I think he tried.
When he's not on point, it's really obvious for everyone. But Openda was the best player for me in Leipzig.
Yeah.
And Darwin Núñez in Liverpool.
Who's that guy? I don't like the guy. Who was that?
Everything, and he did the goal. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he's an actor. But that's besides the fact. But yeah, you got to credit for him.
I
Yeah.
really miss the right back, Raum.
David Raum, me too.
Yeah.
Do you agree those set pieces are just diabolical at the moment?
Yeah, that's right.
And I noticed Xavi was trying to hit those crosses all the time and fizzled out. And Šeško wasn't on his best either. He tried as well.
Too late.
but
Yes,
Too late. And I was wondering why Elmas is not playing. He must have committed some sort of crime, but he came on. I thought the changes Rosa made with the three people coming on, that wasn't so bad, actually. That created a little bit of momentum and even some chances. But I must admit, I feel deflated because RB Leipzig had they didn't have a chance. And my feeling was as well, if Liverpool would just put it up one notch, that would have been it anyway. They could have won 2-3-0. So you got to give it to them. They won deservedly. But how do you rate the atmosphere over here?
The atmosphere?
Yeah.
Yes, today it was different. It was better.
Okay.
As normally, I think.
It was a little bit louder, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, yes. But Liverpool fans is it's really loud.
Yes.
But I think.
But not all the time. I thought it took
It
them.
was a little bit time quiet.
Yeah.
But for me it was amazing atmosphere today.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was better as normally. Yeah.
But it's really good to see people like you coming to this place as well. Also, hopefully enjoying Leipzig as well and coming back to matches. So, are you going to be back soon? Like, it's a new opportunity on Saturday. You'll be back Saturday, maybe?
Yes, we. So today I.
It's just Freiburg. Come on.
Sadly, I have to work.
Yeah, of course. Normally, have ticket for all Champions League.
Okay.
Matches, yeah.
So we'll see you
With Aston
versus
Villa.
Villa, I think. Villa, not an
Villa.
English club.
But
Birmingham. Okay.
we make holidays in Argentina next month.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's getting warm. It's good for you guys.
Yes,
So,
of course.
this is the time for me to stop this because you talk about holidays, nice places. I'm not sure I want to continue that. Really appreciate it. Well, maybe we'll stay in touch. Maybe I'll see you again. That's wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Some special guests in the RB Leipzig arena. Is it the RB? No, it's not. It's the RB arena. It's the Red Bull arena. And special thanks goes out to Ivana, Esteban, Diego, and Michel. I feel really, really delighted that you stopped by and we were able to chat and you contribute to this little episode on our little podcast. Really much appreciated. So, Richard, what is your verdict?
It's wonderful having those guys, those lads in our stadium. It's like people coming from the other side of the world, from another continent, from that far away, and enjoying staying in our beautiful city and enjoying staying at our home matches and supporting our club actually is pretty cool. I'm a little bit jealous that I wasn't with you yesterday night, but I will get my chance another time. I'm sure about that. But please, next time, David Raum is our left back. And die-hard fans should know, okay? But nobody's perfect, so thank you guys. I enjoyed listening.
And I hope, and I'm sure a lot of people listen to this podcast as well. So once again, thank you very much. Really grateful for having met you and, hopefully see you again. And if you do go on your beautiful holiday into the sun, have a grand time. I'm sure you deserved it. Well, Richard, today you actually sent me a little article from the New York Times, and I thought that was really interesting because it coincided with me reading something on the German news site called NTV, which was talking about the Red Bull model as well. And that kind of inspired me to our next little section where I would like to ask the question, has the Red Bull model kaputt? Is it finished? And the reason why we're talking about this, I would like to talk about this, is because it's pretty fitting to the current developments of Rasenballsport Leipzig or maybe some other Red Bull clubs as well. Because if you look at the RB model or the RB brand, the Red Bull brand, I'm sure you agree that we think of something really exciting, something with a lot of movement. I'm thinking of these crazy races with those crazy planes. I'm thinking of Formula One. Everything is fast, speedy, exciting. And in the beginning, when some Red Bull clubs emerged, like Red Bull Salzburg, they were fast, successful. And the way those clubs play under the Red Bull brand, so to speak, has been established, or has established itself over the years. The high press, the fast counter-attacks, especially in the beginning of the Bundesliga. That's something what we saw with Rasenballsport Leipzig as well. And there was a certain path, there was a certain success story behind it, but at the moment it looks a little bit that these clubs normalize themselves. And if you look at RB Leipzig's performance yesterday, there was really nothing wrong with that, to be honest. There were no huge mistakes. RB Leipzig was not really bad. They were actually pretty good, but tiny errors were committed. And when you play the heavyweights of Europe, the elite clubs of Europe, that makes a difference because they exploit those. And like you explained, when Nunes scored the goal, you explained how this came about, and you explained what we don't do as a team. That is just the difference. And I had a similar feeling yesterday and still got it today, to the time when we talked about this last season when we played Man City at home and we lost. And we said, well, we're not there yet. We're not part of the elite group of clubs with the performance because little mistakes are exploited. And it was only until we had the replay Madrid versus Real Madrid where we drew and we almost won the game. I remember that hitting the crossbar of Dani Olmo. It should have been 2-1, and I can see now Vinny pushing over Willy, but I don't want to go over that again. So at that time I felt, there was a certain development and we are close or even inside that group. But yesterday it was the complete opposite, to be honest. And in that article it mentions also that, RB Leipzig squad is good enough to qualify for the Champions League each year, but not good enough to really challenge for the Champions League title, or that somebody would believe that RB Leipzig could actually be the champions of the Bundesliga. So in that sense, RB Leipzig turns to be a little bit of a normal club in the status quo that we've got. Although all the Red Bull facilities that you see going up, the infrastructure is something really great, where young players benefit from. And the model of attracting young, talented players, developing them further within the Red Bull Imperium or a Red Bull clubs is working, and is probably all working almost to perfection. But at the same time, Red Bull clubs like Rasenballsport are nothing more than a springboard. I think young players, talented players like to come to a club like Rasenballsport because they know they're going to further their development, and they get into focused, even international focus of the elite European elite clubs. But after a while, those extraordinary players who are game changers are moved on. And I'm actually saying are moved on because I think that's the intention of the RB model. You attract young players, you do everything you can that they improve, that they shine, and that you can sell them on at a high profit. And that's what this model does really, really well. But at the same time, it comes to a point, and I think we're in that phase now, where everything kind of stalls. And if we look at 3 clubs of the Red Bull club environment, if you look at almost said Rasenballsport again, if you look at Red Bull Salzburg, well, last year they didn't win the championship after they won it numerous times in Austria. Last year, I think for the first time in a long time, they didn't end up with champions. It was Sturm Graz. And this year, they have a really difficult start to the new season. And in the UCL, 0 points, even worse than us. I mean, we also have 0 points. And if you look at Red Bull New York has now completed their regular season, and they only have 4 points more than in the season before that. So they will go to the playoffs. And last year, I think it was sort of in the second round where they got knocked out. Now, the big question is, are they going to progress any further from that? But I don't get the sense of a feeling. And this is a winning team, which will really be challenging for the big trophy in the US. And over here, Rasenballsport, well, finished 4th last year. In that sense, comfortably 4th and confidently as well. Moved on to playing in the Champions League. Okay, it's a new format, which still confuses the heck out of me. But 0 points, and we all feel a bit deflated. So there seems to be, those clubs seems to stall. And in terms of maybe Rasenballsport Leipzig to be, in order to do that, these articles point out that you maybe need a couple of things. And of course, here's the sidestep to Bayer Leverkusen last year when they won the championship of the Bundesliga, and they won the National Cup as well. And they did something which RB Leipzig would probably not do. And that worked last season. I'm not sure if it would work this season, but they hired 3 players who were older than 25. Grimaldo was 27. I think Xhaka is 31 and Hoffmann 30, or the other way around. All key players who made a difference last year in the season, but they're older than 25. And that is something RB Leipzig wouldn't do. Also, the problem is, or the challenge is, that you need a certain chemistry. And it would really help if the team would stick together for a longer time. And the people and the players who really can make the difference in the game wouldn't be leaving the club so often because, they would go for a lot of money. And I'm thinking of Konate, I'm thinking of Joshko Guardiol, Soboslai, Kunku, you name it. There could be no more names if we look back at the last couple of years. And it sort of feels that almost every season you're starting over or halfway starting over. So in order to get that, and I use one of your favorite words, cohesion, and to achieve a chemistry amongst the team members, that is quite hard. That is really quite hard if these people go. Now, on the other hand, some of the people stay. Some of the people, I would argue though, like Kefko, like Paulsen, they're not those big game changers. But it's good that they're here, and it's so important that they're here. But the real extraordinary good ones who move on to Barcelona, who move on to the Premier League, they're not here anymore. And the ones who move to these leagues and make it and actually establish themselves as key players, they're not here. So it is really hard to really challenge for those titles and to trophies and to really show any progression in the international stage as well. And that made me think as well, if we put so much work into developing those young players, attracting them and doing everything we can so they can shine and be better, and the national teams also benefit from that, that just means that the RB clubs, or especially also Rasenball Sport Leipzig, yes, they reap the rewards in terms of money. That's okay, but they don't reap the rewards in terms of glory or reputation or in a sporting from a sporting point of view. And we would try, in a way, we deprive ourselves from that by having that RB model policy. So the RB model is developing young players, selling them on, playing attractive football because the brand needs to be really attractive. But at the moment, we've come to a stage where, at least in 3 of those clubs, everything is kind of stalling. So the appointment of Jürgen Klopp as a head of global soccer, overseeing all the developments of those clubs and providing strategic vision and mentoring and coaching, is, I think, on the paper, in theory, extremely helpful. And especially with his reputation, I think this opens doors as well to players who might be able to stay on, but at the same time, the clubs have to earn a reputation that people want to stay there, and to earn a reputation of being a European heavyweight. And I'm not 100% how this is going to work, but it needs to work like that, because otherwise the whole Red Bull brand will suffer, because at the moment it's not exciting, it's not extraordinary, it's just ordinary and normal. So I'm just inviting you for a little experiment or a little thought, or maybe a little bit of fantasy, Richard. Think back of our beautiful day out to Berlin, the DFB Pokal final in 2023, where we find a parking space right next to the stadium. That was beautiful. But that wasn't the highlight. And remind yourself who was actually on the pitch, who's not there anymore. And it's just 2 seasons ago, 1.5 seasons ago. And I can see Kunku, I can see Choposchla, I can see Lima, I can see, who else? I can see in defense, Joshko. And these are all extraordinary players who went on to other clubs where they even progressed. Well, most of them. And still playing. Just imagine them being here and alongside maybe some of the new additions that we had this year. Just imagine Češko was here playing as well. Or Gopenda. And mix the whole group together. I think that could be a team which could actually win a championship, a big trophy. I forgot Olmo. Sorry. When he's not injured, he is a big weapon. So, Richard, bearing this in mind, with all the thoughts that were going through my mind, do you think that the RB model is kaputt? Is it finished?
The question is, was it ever unbroken?
Ooh, what a twist.
Was it ever suitable going all the way in the league year after year after year. I don't know. I'm not sure, but you named it. Where Red Bull appears, they own things. So you mentioned those crazy planes that are flying in through some poles, or I remember the Red Bull crushed ice. This freaky downhill skating with inline skates on an ice track. It's completely crazy, and they invented those things. And in terms of when Red Bull is not available, it's not able to own something or to create something unique, where they just are, in part of something, like in common sports, in sports with long history, for example, ice hockey.
Mm-hmm.
They are trying to be the best in the whole competition.
True.
So regarding to the Erste Bank ice hockey league in Austria, and I think teams from Italy and Slovenia playing there as well. Red Bull Salzburg, the hockey club, won several titles. Red Bull Munich in the Deutsche Eishockey-Liga won several championships too.
Agree,
so
yeah.
they came there, they occupied the club or founded the club or whatsoever, and made everything they could. Excuse me?
They took it over. Yeah, it existed before, but they took it over completely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when doing that, they're not just part of it, they're just part of the league, and hey, nice to be that you are here and you can play with us. No, they want to own the league. They want to be on top every year. So, and bearing that in mind, I cannot imagine that there is not the same aim in association football.
Mm-hmm.
So, it must be the aim of the Red Bull GmbH to be someday the champion of the German league, and not just once, but twice or 3 times in a row, or maybe even more.
Yeah.
And the question is could this ever been the right approach? Was it ever suitable only acquiring young players for development and then selling them on higher prices to finally get to this point where you are in the first place and where you are champions of German association football? In my mind, obviously not.
Mm-hmm.
So it obviously was okay to go twice in the cup and go all the way in the cup, and this is great. This is a huge win.
Mm-hmm.
Huge win to win this trophy 2 times in a row. Last season I hope that we can go for the 3-peat, because that has never been, just like in the NFL. But fortunately, we went out. We not get knocked out in the second round versus VfL Wolfsburg. But obviously, maintaining a level for 34 games is not what's achievable with only young and players that are not in their prime. And if we have kept all those players you mentioned, if we have kept Nkunku or Lima or Konate or Soboslai, I think that wouldn't help either, because
why not?
Those players are where they are now because they changed their level of competition by leaving the Bundesliga and joining the UPL. That is obviously the top level in world-class association football you can find on this little planet. And it was necessary and very useful for their individual personal development. And I'm almost sure, this is something I can just, build here without have the possibility or even the aim to prove it. But it's my honest opinion. The whole competition in the Bundesliga is not on this level as the EPL is. And therefore, the development of Konate and Soboslai to those players that are now would not have been possible and would not help us either. So, what's the point? How do we get to the same level as Leverkusen has been last year?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we need a little bit more luck, just like Leverkusen had last year. But I think more importantly, we have to go for players that are in their prime and are able to maintain this for at least 1, 2, 3 more seasons.
Mm.
And you dropped this name in Granit Xhaka, and I loved that addition. I loved it that Leverkusen was able to get him for this ridiculously low amount of 20 million euros from Arsenal, where he was still a we talked last season about the polarized league. So the gap between the best and the worst teams in the league, it is still there. But in general, I think this gap is closer to each other.
Okay.
So it's huge in numbers in the end, but in terms of competition level, I think they're closer together. And so they had to fight for every square inch of this pitch, of every pitch in the league. And yeah, with that, in Germany we would say Stahlbad, and with this bath of steel, you cannot translate that. I know, but it's funny anyway.
I love it.
And then coming back to this Cupcake League Bundesliga,
Cupcake.
you are just able to outperform the very most of your opponents, just like Leverkusen did last year. So, conclusion:
I'm deflated again.
we won't be able to reach more than one title in a row with that approach Red Bull is doing for all the years. If we want to dominate a league for at least 2 or 3 seasons, we have to develop this Red Bull models a little bit further. You can still stick to this fantastic idea of acquiring players, not for a cheap amount of money. Bear in mind how much we paid for Openda. It was like 43 million or something.
That was quite a lot, for us.
Quite a lot.
And it's even a lot more than for the majority of other Bundesliga clubs,
Indeed.
But not for Brighton or Leicester.
Yes, true. But still, he is developing, and he's still doing it.
You're right.
And I don't know what his clause is in his contract for what amount of money he could leave, but I'm pretty sure it's way more than we paid for him. And so the level we reach is not that bad, but we have to take now the next step and go for players that are in their prime and are going to help us and going to be a squad changer. Because if we're not doing this, there will be chances to go all the way in the championship, and we will might go for another win in the DFB Pokal. But as I said, this is nothing you can build a dynasty on.
I must say I agree with that as well. And there are signs that things may about to change with the appointment of Jurgen Klopp. As something we would have to wait and see, because, he's on holiday until January, as we know. Very interesting. It was very thought-provoking, these 2 items that I read, and one of which is the New York Times. And we're going to supply the links in the show notes as well if you want to have a look yourself. And I'm sure we'll come back to this discussion again. But, let's look at matters in hand, which are a little bit closer. Friday, there's a new match. We're going to have somebody coming around.
Introducing our next opponent. Their Gegnercheck.
We know them well, don't we? So who's coming?
Freiburg's coming to town. Well, actually, when they are our visitors, it's not that scary.
Yeah, but
because every time I'm thinking of Freiburg, I think about this snow game. But it's it's almost 10 years.
Is it 10 years?
And almost. I'm not quite sure.
Wasn't there fireworks in front of the RB Leipzig hotel as well?
Yeah,
in the night.
And there was a flu within our team, as far as I remember.
And they had to take the plane. Damn it!
And by the way, we lost it. But
2-1, I think.
But 2-1, we lost it. But we never lost a home game. We never lost a home game to Freiburg. We were 8 Bundesliga home games, 6 wins, 2 draws, and 0 defeats. And by the way, we didn't lose at home in the Bundesliga, in the second Bundesliga, excuse me. And we had some quite nice results versus Freiburg, especially away games too. I remember this 5-1 win in the Cup semi-final. One of the best halves I've ever seen from our lads. No
And
doubt.
you know what I
was-
found at the time as well? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm so rude. But those Freiburg fans have a lot of change, which they threw on the pitch or towards our players. Richard is obviously not amused about my comment because I interrupted his train of thought. But hey, let's move on.
And last time we lost to SC Freiburg, actually, it was pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID.
Really?
It was in October 2019. And since then, we drew at home. We won at home. We took away 1, 2, 3 away wins in the league. Some other wins at home in the league. Yeah, and some draws. We didn't lose since October 19. So yeah, this could have been worse. When thinking of Freiburg as our visitors. But you teased it in the beginning of our episode. We're running out of players.
Yeah.
Who is still standing? And this is what concerns me most. So let's wrap that up. We are not available is David Raum out for the rest of the calendar year. Xavi as well. I think he has some ligament injury in his ankle. That's what I read. Schlager still out with his torn ACL. Seiwald likely out until match week 9. Uedraogo as well, not be available before match week 9. And by the way, he's get no much practice at all.
No.
And Lucas Klostermann. Okay, he was out with the minor stomach infection, but this is something that takes a lot of energy from you, and I don't. It's in my mind, he won't be able to be ready for the starting lineup on Saturday. So
I counted six guys.
6 important guys not available, and if you look at our roster, and I counted it, and if I count it well, and if I count it correctly, there are only 15 players available. 15, and the reserve goal is not included.
This is what I read last time before the match of Liverpool was 16. So now we're down by another one.
Okay, so it's correct, obviously. Thank you. I didn't read this is number of 16. And so for the upcoming encounters versus Freiburg, St. Pauli, Dortmund, Celtic, and maybe Mönchengladbach, only those 15 players are available.
Bloody hell.
And
how's that going to work?
This is what's really, really concerning, because the players need some rest. And I will little spoiler, the upcoming match on Tuesday versus St. Pauli would have been a nice opportunity for some stress management, and still is, and we will still see some rotation galore. Yeah, but not in that, not in that width that we or the players should receive their rests. So yeah. Talking about stress management, this is far from ideal, so we cannot afford any more injuries.
Can I still ask you a question about Freiburg? I noticed they're really on an upcoming or of very good form as well. I think they're only 2 points behind us.
Yes, they have 5 wins, just as we got, but lost twice.
And some of the players we know for many, many years, like Grifo. Is that his name? Grifo?
Vincenzo Grifo.
Vincenzo Grifo, here we go. He's been impressive for a long time.
Yeah.
But it looks like, to me now, he's more energetic than ever. What the heck's going on with him? What is he drinking?
He's the same age as Xhaka. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's the prime in the early 30s. Maybe.
Best age, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's impressive.
And they're all long-time players with Freiburg.
Okay.
Like Doan or Günther, Eggestein now, I think this third year. Matthias Ginter, who returned from Gladbach a few years ago. And so the core of this team is pretty much the same for years now. So
there's a good chemistry and cohesion, isn't there?
Cohesion, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Now,
lots of it.
A really important character. The coach manager of Freiburg last season, he stopped. I almost said Joachim Streich, but it's Hans. What's his name?
There was someone else.
I know. He's not alive anymore, by the way.
Christian. It was Christian.
Christian Streich. Now, I don't actually miss him because the new gentleman who took over just continued and made improvements. It seems at the beginning of the season. There doesn't seem to be a drop in quality.
Okay, they're still good. They're still, as I like to say it, an above average Bundesliga team.
Okay.
So they don't play European club competition this season.
Okay.
And they benefit from that as well. It helps them maintaining their high standard because they don't have this, as we say in German, Doppelbelastung. So they got no Wednesday, Saturday duties. So, but yeah, it seems like, you mentioned it, that they are getting better, but actually, I look into the numbers, and to me, it seems they are overperforming just as we do.
Okay. It's wonderful.
In at least a kind of way, because it's interesting, because in the last 4 matches, they played 3 of the same opponents as we did.
Mm-hmm.
They played Heidenheim, Augsburg, and St. Pauli. And they lost 2 of them. They won 2 of them. They won versus Augsburg most recently, where they had magnificent 15 minutes in the first half, and besides of that, not really a good performance. They won versus Heidenheim with a solid performance, and then they lost versus St. Pauli. And you know what the funny thing is? They lost, albeit they had 70-something% ball possession. So obviously, 70 and something, yeah. So St. Pauli hit the very first counter-attack and had the early go-ahead goal. I think it was after 12 minutes or something.
Okay.
And then they just played the St. Pauli game. We will park the bus, we're watching you playing, and if you do a mistake, we will be there. And
great.
So they had 70-something% ball possession, and then did obviously 2 more mistakes because they conceded 2 more goals and lost 0-3. But if you look at the box score, they had 0-something X goals. So yeah, pretty much no idea. That rings a bell, right?
It does.
Seems like
the penny dropped. The Groschen ist gefallen, ja.
Honestly, I didn't watch the whole 90 minutes from this Freiburg St. Pauli game. But from what I've read and what I saw on the highlight reel, it seems like there was just harmless and without any creativity in that match. And so there seems to be some parallel behavior to our offensive department sometimes. And besides of that, they only lost to Bayern. We didn't play Bayern yet, assuming to the performances in the league. I think it's fair to say that we are not going to win this one as well.
Not big.
And the other top side they were playing was Stuttgart in match week 1, and they won it, to me surprisingly. But if you look where Stuttgart is now, where they have developed in the start of the season, I think it would have been a much harder task for Freiburg if they would play them each week like 10 or something like that.
Do you know Stuttgart won away at Juve, and
yes, and
was
they outplayed
11
them.
versus 11.
They outplayed them.
Jesus.
Yeah, for the most of the time, Juve actually received a red card in 80-something minute. But Stuttgart was the way better team, and Juve was, out of ideas too in that match.
Anyway,
so
moving on.
Anyway, Freiburg. So what I'm trying to say is they almost get all of their points besides Stuttgart versus teams that are arguably not in the upper Bundesliga tier, but in the lower.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe especially Augsburg, they're struggling hard this season, and it wouldn't be a surprise if they're getting relegated, or at least have to play the relegation matches with the second league, third-ranked team. So, okay, coming back to our upcoming match. That being said, that I think they are overperforming a little bit. They are nevertheless also very strong on the other hand side, at least defensively, because both teams, Freiburg and Leipzig as well, are in the top of the league in terms of shot on target allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So Freiburg is second here with only 19. That's incredibly low. And RBL is on 27, and it's the fourth best team in the league.
Okay.
So not pretty much chances were created that led into shots on the target at least. That's interesting. And what another interesting fact is, they are trying to shoot very often, or more often than the average club does, way more often than RBL does, but only had 31 of their 103 shots on target.
Oops.
And that's only ranked number 8, and it's only 0.3 something shots on target per shot. In that category, RBL is way better. So we are more efficient.
Efficient, yeah.
What's the word? Efficient. Efficient with what we are doing, if we are doing something. And, yeah.
I mean, we might not always be in the mood for that, but if we do, we do well.
I don't want to shoot. Maybe you should. So just like Openda yesterday with this crosses with this pass to where he tried to find Yusuf in the penalty box. Come on, just shoot.
Yeah, better shoot.
He was like 10, 11 meters left to the left goal post. Come on, just shoot. And Yusuf can go for the deflected
rebound.
Ball. Yeah.
Mm.
Another interesting stat I found is that the Freiburg doesn't got a preferred attacking side, almost equal between right, middle, and left lane. Their comments are like 36, 30, and 34%. What is more interesting, they're obviously trying to maneuver the ball into the attacking zone on all sides of the pitch and through the middle. But when it comes down to take shots, they're almost always shots from the middle. And it's ranked second place in the league. So 73% of every shot attempt comes from the middle, almost nothing from the sides. Compared to RBL, we're only at 59% in that category, so we're at bottom of the league.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 out of 10 shots we are trying to take are not from the middle, but from the either left or right side.
Okay.
So I think this will help us a lot because our defense is still healthy. We have still Orban and we have still Lukiba, and they're in top form. So I'm not really worrying about that we are able to take away shot attempts from the middle. So this is, I think, something that speaks into our favor. Generally, I expect a tight, low-scoring game with few chances for each team. I don't think this is going to be a beauty. So you maybe will find me more often at the catering area than not.
Alcohol-free beer, right? Alcohol-free.
Of course, yeah, because my daughter enjoys me. And so a lonely goal might be the difference maker in this one. And so Freiburg is a mediocre attacking team. I don't expect him to score more than one. I think it's more interesting who Marco is going to send out.
Oh, shall we do that?
Starting 11. I got a pretty decent chance to get it right this time because almost no available players anymore.
Oops, sorry. Why am I laughing?
Let's go.
I shouldn't be. It's very sad.
Liebe Fußballfans, wir kommen jetzt zu unserer heutigen Mannschaftsaufstellung.
Of course, for the last time before the next match, for the St. Pauli match, Mr. 92% save percentage, Pete Gulaschi, will be our goalkeeper.
Sick.
Yeah, it is, and it won't be maintainable for the rest of the season.
Oh, it's what you say. What you say every week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it proves you wrong. Damn it.
Hopefully, yes. But I mean, he's got a chance to play his best season for our colors, but being
amazing.
above 80% is world class. Is world class. So if he is end the season and he got a chance ending up at 80-something%, it's just outstanding. Back to the Mannschaftsaufstellung. I think our manager is going back to his favorite 4-2-2-2 system. So I expect Getrieder, Orban, Lukepa, and Henriks in our defense. Haidara and Vermeeren as our defensive midfield. Nusa, and then, of course, Xavi not available. It has to be Baumgartner.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see him from the start because every time I watch him playing for Team Austria, and he usually is a starter for them, he's doing fantastic things. So he is capable of being a difference maker. He is, and he played a very significant Euros as well for Team Austria. So please, Baumi, show us your Austria face on Saturday, all right? And of course, Yusuf didn't prove that he is on level with Šeško and Kolpenda, so those both will be, from the very beginning, our attackers. And the score, I'm still optimistic, and I told you, Freiburg is not that good in the attacking column, so I expect a low-scoring game, and I think we're going away with a 1-0 win, and Šeško will do it late in the second half with a soft penalty converted.
I love it. I'm going with a 1-1 draw, which I don't want to see. I prefer your score. We're both going to be there. We're going to see it. We're going to be back. It's going to be daylight. And hopefully we get the 3 points. We're going to be yelling, and my voice should be getting better, should improve again. Well, thank you, Richard. It's been fascinating. I know we covered a lot of ground today. This is our longest episode ever. Oh my God. We will promise that our next episode's shorter because we're going to do a brief one, aren't we? Before the cup match versus St. Pauli here in Leipzig on Tuesday. But hopefully by Monday we're going to push out a brief episode. And would be grateful if you want to listen to that. Thanks a lot for listening. This has been Bulls in Red, our RB Leipzig podcast from Leipzig to everyone, wherever you are on this planet. If you like our podcast, kindly consider subscribing to it on your favorite platform. You can also leave us a comment and contact us by email. Our email address is podcast@bullsinred.com. You can find us on Instagram. We are Bulls in Red. And on X Twitter, we are podcast_RBL. Our episodes are available on Apple, Spotify, Co. and also YouTube. And all we need to say now is vielen Dank, Richard. And auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs.